Yo, what up, street dogs? There, Kim. All right, the Turbo Thought. This is on why I'm so bullish about Bitcoin. So, um, some quick basic ideas. So, I think if you are the type of person to be interested in cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, emergent new technologies, then there is certainly a degree of personal interest you have in it. Yet there's also the fear that you might lose money or whatever. But I think that the best position to think about it is whether how much you really care or not, and to almost approach any speculative investing or whatever investing, assuming like you're going to lose it all. And this is one thing I learned from the Jeff Bezos is like the regret minimization framework. Imagine yourself 120 years old on your deathbed and looking back at your life, and you're like, oh, what do I regret doing, or what do I regret not doing? And it seems that who knows what if one day Bitcoin is $1 million or $10 million or $100 million or $1 billion. You never know, right? And I think, I'm 33 right now, right? It's so funny, man. The world has changed so insanely much. Like I haven't even kept up with like the world's richest people thing. And I was talking to my friend Justin, and then I was like, wait, what? We got centi billionaires already? And then check the list. There's Jeff Bezos and Elon with over $100 billion. And then our best friend Kanye West, rich enough to give a dollar to everyone on earth, was that $5-6 billion. And so, to think of a former rapper, producer, artist, fashion icon to become that rich is kind of quite unexpected, perhaps. And even when you think about Apple becoming the first $1 trillion company, who knows, maybe in Seneca's lifetime, you'll see like $100 trillion company, whatever it may be. I mean, certainly money is a man-made concept, so that's it's a possibility. And I think what it is that, like, for myself, I don't like the idea of being stuck on the sidelines and just being able to observe things from afar and just to commentate. In some ways, there is a certain pride of having skin in the game, as our best friend Nassim Taleb says, is that, it's so funny that I'll go to a random bar or something and people always talking about like crypto or Bitcoin. They're like, oh, it's so overvalued, it's so overpriced, it's scam, blah blah. But then they don't even own any Bitcoin or crypto. So, in some ways, to talk about things that you're not personally invested in is essentially a waste of your time, and perhaps it shows some sort of like cowardice or schadenfreude where, let's say you think Bitcoin's a scam, right? And then you want it to go down. Let's say you don't own any Bitcoin, but you're essentially trying to feel superior while perhaps also feeling some sort of FOMO. Because also one thing I've learned about human psychology is we tend to critique things we're actually kind of interested in. So for everyone who hates on, Kanye or Elon or Kim Kardashian, there is some sort of a personal interest in them. And I think in Nassim Taleb's book, The Bed of Procrustes, has an aphorism which is like, it is easy to fake love, but it is hard to fake hate, which I think is interesting. And it seems like in today's world, if you think about like Chef Gordon Ramsay, or you think about Simon Cowell, etc., Hell's Kitchen, even to an extent Steve Jobs, we're kind of drawn to like mean people or extreme people, and we disdain boring people. So for example, like, you would never watch American Idol if one of the judges was just kind of like, yeah, it's cool, it's kind of not, it's kind of this like lukewarm, tepid response to whatever it is. And rather, we like people with extreme opinions. And, certainly a lot of people are kind of like caricatures and just like, like acting. But I really do think that if you care enough about it and you're enthusiastic about something enough, you should just go for it. And so, for example, when I first heard about cryptocurrency, you know, I think this is mostly like, I still, man, certainly one cannot play coulda, woulda, shoulda, but, I was a college, UCLA, I think it was like my second year living with my roommate Kevin, and, he's on Reddit or something, and, he's like, oh, there's this thing called Bitcoin, I think it was like point zero, like it was like 1 cent a Bitcoin. He's like, oh, we should just buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and see what happens. I'm like, nah, it sounds like a scam. And then, I hear about it again in 2016 when I'm in Vietnam, reading zerohedge.com. And, Bitcoin's like $300 and $500, and people's like, it's gonna go over $1,000. And then bada bing, bada boom, as of right now, it's like, like in the $45,000 range plus. And, who knows, maybe in the next 10 years or 20 years. And, I have zero interest in selling any of my Bitcoin. I'm just going to give it all to Seneca once his, 21 or 25 or 33 or whatever age he is at. So certainly it's going to be a lot more then. And at a certain point, there's a certain joy of just pure speculation, because at this point, we essentially have a financial, quote, quote, financial freedom, right? Financial independence, retire early. So essentially at this point, I feel retired. Even when I'm traveling, doing workshops, it's more for fun and a hobby than having to make money. We got investments and stuff like that. And also, me and Cindy live quite frugally. All the baby stuff we got for Seneca is essentially free, so that hasn't cost much money. But anyways, so what do you do once you're retired and you have more than enough money and resources? Then I do think that there's a certain joy of speculation in just doing things, investing things which have no practical utilitarian purpose. Because let's say overnight Bitcoin is like worth $1 million, right? And then I become like X amount of millionaire, billionaire, whatever it may be. What am I going to do? Go out and buy a Lambo? I mean, certainly I would love to have a Lambo, but even at this point, I'm not even driving around much, and then we're going to be moving soon, and so having a car is actually a liability. So even if I was a billionaire, I mean, I might like tour or rent a Lambo for a day, but I actually would want to own one, because you have to go to the DMV, you gotta register, you gotta get insurance for it. And even if I was a billionaire, I'm like, I don't like having to deal with all that, or having to fill up gas or maintain it, take it to the shop. It's all quite a pain in the ass. So for me, my ideal is actually just, right now we don't even own a car. It's like not owning a car and just being able to Uber, Lyft everywhere. And, what to do with money, use that money to buy more steak, beef, coffee, and that's pretty much it. And you already got the iPhone Pro, got the iPad Pro, got the MacBook Pro, all Pro everything. And once you have all the best tools, you got the Ricoh GR3, then I think that the end goal is then kind of more like philosophy meets entrepreneurship, where you're more focused on speculation and just sharing random thoughts and ideas. And I think this is also just like a random thought and tip is, a lot of people who are new to the YouTube game or blogging or, internet stuff, there's this focus that you got to become successful. But I don't know, I just think it's more important to be curious and just to share ideas of everything you're personally interested in. Even I'm shooting this on the iPhone, just selfie video vlogging, 720p at 30 FPS. And I've just found it to be the most simplest and effective thing possible. And my personal ambition is to create more people to get into blogging and even YouTube, and for more people to share their own personal, treat themselves like human beings with multivariated interests, where it's not just talking about photography or street photography or X, Y, and Z, but talking about anything on your mind. So, I almost feel like the idea of getting into crypto, it's really not to make money or even to get financial freedom, because I think the desire to get financial freedom is also a trap, where my philosophy about financial freedom is it's essentially the atheist notion of an afterlife, where it's like, oh, I'm so miserable right now because I had to work my 9 to 5, but after I get financial freedom, then suddenly I have this sort of like heavenly afterlife. And I can actually tell you that it takes more skill to utilize abundant leisure than it is to have limited time. So for example, I actually think on the contrary, if a lot of people get financial freedom or stop working or retire, a lot of people tend to retrogress or to become complacent rather than people who are constantly on the hustle. And also one thing I've learned too is that like high salaries could tend to be things that make people complacent in terms of their golden cell. Like, you make a bunch of money, there's no incentive for you to become self-employed or do anything because the money's too good, right? But anyways, so so I would just say if you're personally interested in it, the best thing I've learned from Nassim Taleb is with any speculative investing, never put more than 10% of your savings in any one investment. Like it's better to put 10% of your savings in an extremely speculative thing like, Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. Other things I'm interested in terms of the crypto space, which I've owned but no longer own, is Digibyte, Digibyte. It's like Bitcoin. It's been around for like close to 10 years. It's like 40 times faster than Bitcoin and 10 times faster than Litecoin. It could be a good equivalent to buying a cup of coffee in the future. Also, Chainlink, technology is all about links, so I think that's an interesting one. I really think that the ADA Cardano one is totally a scam. I went to their website. I'm trying to figure out what they are, and it's like if I could go to your website, I can't even figure out what you are, then that's a bad sign. And also a big thing is when any sort of innovation is being trying to create it top down rather than bottom up, especially by academics and researchers, that's a very bad sign. So definitely steer away from ADA Cardano. I think that's a no-go. Ethereum seems pretty cool, but I don't think Ethereum will ever be mainstream insofar much as people don't know how to pronounce it. Like, imagine you like having your ESL, mom trying to spell Ethereum or even remember it, but it's easier to pronounce it Bitcoin than Ethereum. But I think Ethereum will always it's going to be like always popular with kids who are into gaming or people who mod their PCs or play games on Steam. Also, I think that the non-fungible token stuff is actually quite interesting. I'm personally not. I might get into it, but right now just bandwidth is a little limited, taking care of Seneca, but it's definitely something I'm going to speculate in later. So I would say just, think of yourself at age 120, what kind of regrets that you might have not doing something, and remember the quote, the tattoo on John Wick's back, Fortis adiuvat, or Fortuna adiuvat fortis, which is like fortune favors the bold and the brave. And I think in life, to live a bolder life is a better life.